Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. I know I say it every time, thanks to East Brunswick Library. And of course, Melissa for this creative opportunity. So this session is all about learning the basics of embroidery art and creating a lovely floral design. So before beginning the session, I just want to say have fun with your craft. Just try to follow and work at your own pace because you don't need to hurry that much. We know that we won't be able to finish the entire design, but you'll definitely learn the basic techniques which will help you to complete the design later on. And so let's start the session without any further ado. All you need is an embroidery kit that you all might be having. It should have a white cloth, some embroidery threads, needle threader. That's what I am concerned about. I hope you all have the kit. The ones who have the kit, I think you should have the needle threader. But in case you don't have the needle threader, then you can let me know right now and we can find out a way to just put in the thread without the threader. And we need a scissor and a frame, and that I will be showing you one by one. So we should start the session right now. This was the design that we have displayed, I think, in the flyer, but it won't be the same design as you all have the kit right now. But the stitches that we are going to do for this session will be the same as shown here. So they are basically 4 basic stitches that I will be teaching. One of them will be a stem stitch. Second will be, I'm just giving an overview, a stem stitch, a satin stitch, then a fishbone stitch, and the fourth one will be the French knot, which is somewhere in the middle, you can see. I will teach one by one, so you will be able to recognize them as we do each and every stitch, and I will be telling you the name along with that. So this was the design that I did with the same stitches. Now we'll be doing something different. And I had mentioned about the needle threader. I hope everyone has it. In case you don't have it, please let me know. Then I can tell you a way so that you can put it easily inside the hole. So I have already put this cloth inside this frame, but I can show it again how to put it. What I did was I just unscrewed it, the frame. It didn't have the cloth earlier. I just unscrewed it, and till the time it is loose enough to take out both the parts. So these are the 2 parts that we have. Now one of the parts, that's the inner part, just keep it down on the table or on any flat surface you have. Since it's a beginner class, I just want to do each and every step, though I know many of you might be knowing this. So just try to keep the design in the center. And now just keep the upper part of the frame like this on it and fix it nicely like this. I know it will be loose. Now what you have to do is you just have to screw it in so that it becomes tight enough like this. Just use your judgment how much tight you want so that the cloth is stretched enough and it's easy for you to do the embroidery. In case you have any questions and you want to unmute, you can ask. Sometimes I feel nobody is speaking. I hope everybody is understanding. So it would be great if you want to speak up in between or ask any questions, or you want me to wait or anything is not clear. So I'm just stretching it. And I think it's well intact here and I can start the embroidery. So the next thing is I have already put some of the threads inside my needle. I thought like it would save some time, but definitely I'll be telling how to put in the thread with the needle threader. So this is a needle threader I was talking about. So the main thing is that it should have this wire and it should have a good opening and it is quite flexible so that it can go inside the hole of this needle. So now first thing I'm going to do is I am going to take a yellow thread. You must be having a kit and I'll just show it. So this is the kit I had. There are threads in it. Just wanted to save some time so that we can start with the stitches. I can still tell that you can just take out one of the yellow threads and they are already separated. Just take out the entire length. They are separated equally in equal length. So take out the entire length of the thread. It should be this much. I don't want you to get into separating the threads. We are not separating 2 threads or 3 threads. It's just the entire 6 threads that we are going to use. And I'll just show you how we are going to put it. I have a camera in front, so it gets a little tough to put it inside. So this is what I'm doing. I am putting the wire inside the hole of the needle like this. So just put it in and put it till the end where you have this holder. Mine has a flower shape. Yours might be having something else. And now take your thread and take one tip of it like this and put it inside the wire. Again, I'm just mentioning if anybody is not clear, please let me know. So I'm just taking out a little bit of it, this much, not the entire, not half of it, just a little bit, this much from the wire like this. And now you can see that I have this needle. I'm going to pull the needle and try to pull it more, like try to do it a little more with pressure and it will come out and it will have the thread inside the hole like this. Now put it till the part you must have seen. I can even repeat this step if anybody wants. So this part which we had taken out of the wire, it's already out of the needle hole. And now we can take the thread from the wire also. So now we can see that the needle has the thread and it was quite easy to put it through the needle threader. I hope it is clear. You can just unmute. I can repeat the step if anybody is doing it for the first time. I think everybody is clear. So next step is, as we all know, since we have to make the design intact, I am going, so you can see that one part of the thread is small and the other part is big. So take the bigger part of the thread and make a knot. I hope you all know how to make a knot. I'm just making it my way, just wrapping it around my finger and just taking it out. So I have made the knot like this. Now, next thing is let's start with the stitches that we were waiting for. Now you can see this flower, all these are identical. So once we learn this part, we will be able to complete it later as well. So this is the needle and I am going to just, you can see and then you can follow. I'm going to put the needle from the back to the front like this on the tip of my first petal. You can choose any flower and you can start with any petal. I started with this because it was more comfortable to start from the left for me. And I'm going to just pull it up. Now, sometimes the needle does get slippery and it's tough to take it out. So you can just keep a tissue on the side and just wipe up your hand. And then it will be easier. Since we are using the entire thread, so sometimes the thread also gets stuck in the cloth. So this was the first step. Now, I was telling about the stitch that we are going to do. So this is the first stitch, which is called the satin stitch, S-A-T-I-N, satin stitch. So I just put the thread through my needle from the back to the front with the yellow color and at the tip of the petal. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it down. I'm just going to show each step one by one because sometimes those who are experienced, they do 2 stitches at the same time. So I just want to do one thing at a time so that it is clear, since it is also on Zoom. So I want it to be more clearer. And now we are going to put the thread through the needle. Here, as you can see, I'm putting the needle on the outline of the circle, the inner circle, almost opposite to the petal that we are doing. So I'm just putting it in. Again, if your hands feel slippery, just clean it with a napkin around and just take it out like this. And take out the entire thread like this. So this was, I think, the first step in the satin stitch. Now you can see there is space on the left, there is space on the right as well. And I'm going to the left of the petal now. I'm going to take out this needle from the place near to my first stitch on the tip of the petal and on its outline on the left. And now I'm going to take it out like this. So this was about taking the stitch just nearing the first stitch and following the outline. And now I'm going to put it again back, following the outline of the circle down like this, nearing my first stitch. So it's a repetitive process, and try to keep the stitches as much near to each other like this, so that there is no gap and there is no white portion showing up. So this is a satin stitch. I feel this is called satin stitch. Maybe it's too plain like satin. It's quite soft like satin. Once you make it, the petals will look really smooth. So the third thing I'm going to do is, again, I'm following the outline on the left for the petal. And I'm just taking out the needle and taking out the thread, nearing the second stitch I did. I hope everybody is following. If you have any problem, you can just ask me. We are just repeating the steps to cover the entire petal. So the satin stitch, I think, is just a two-step thing. We take out from one side and put it in from the other side. Again, we take out the thread from one side, and now I'm again going to put it in on the other side. The only thing is just follow the outline and try to keep the stitches as near to each other, and don't keep it too tight. So I think I have almost covered the left part of my petal. Just, I think, one more stitch and it's done for the left side. I'm just taking it in again. Like this. Now you can see I've covered the left side. The right side is still left. We are going to follow the same technique for the right side. Now you must remember the first stitch that we did in the middle. Just bring the thread or the needle near that stitch on the right of the petal. I hope everybody is able to follow. And Melissa, in case anything is not clear, the screen is not clear, and please let me know, because I am totally engrossed in this. So now I'm just putting it in like this, and I'm just covering the entire petal with the satin stitch, following the outline. It might take a little time sometime to take out the needle. So I'm almost done with this petal, just one step left. So you can see I just near it a little. I hope it is not blurred. So this part is still left. Try to keep the last stitch as much nearing to the last stitch that you did. So I am coming back to the top of the petal and taking it out and putting the thread again down near the circle. So you can see, you can just press it a little, just loosen it up a little so that they both, all the stitches, they come together, they intermingle with each other. So this was the first petal we did with the satin stitch. Same way you'll start for the second petal. So you started for the first petal from the tip of the petal. Same way you are going to start it from the second petal. Or there is one more option since you asked. So you can just go to the middle part like this, as you can see, of the outline. Instead of going to the tip, just go in the middle and bring the needle out from there. And then I can show you, I can complete the second petal as well with you. Since you asked it, it's a good question. So I took it out, instead of taking it out from the tip of the petal, I took it out from the middle of the outline of the petal. So now it's the same step in the satin stitch that we are going to go back to the outline of the circle like this and just take it out like this. So instead of following from left side and then going to the right side, we are just starting from the left side and going continuously to the right and covering the petal. So again, come to the outline, almost nearing your first stitch, take it out, and then go to the outline of the circle and then take it out from the back. I hope it is clear, the second way to do the satin stitch for a petal. Now, any design you will be doing later, just follow the same steps and your design will come out good as this flower will come out. So it's just like any other art. We don't let the colors come out of the outline. Same way in embroidery, we don't let the thread come out of the outline. I'm just taking the needle again down and taking it out. So we will be repeating the process again and again. As I said, it's a two-step method or a stitch. Try to keep the stitches near to each other. Think this got stuck. Sometimes the thread even gets stuck in between. So in that case, just in case it just gets stuck, just try to handle it calmly instead of just pulling it to see at the back if something wrong happened, and you can take out the knot because mistake does happen. Since we are using a lot of thread here, like 6 strands of thread together, so some knots might happen. So if you want to keep this design intact, I just turned it around. And at the back, you can see there are so many stitches. Now take one of the stitches and put your needle in it, 1 or 2, as many as you can, and take it out from it. Now you can see I have made a kind of loop like this, loop of thread. Now bring the needle out of this thread and see your design will be intact because now there is a knot at the back. You can make one more knot if you want, or you can just keep one. It is safe. Your design won't go anywhere. And now, since I'm teaching the basics, I will do the same as. So I'm just going to cut the thread. You might be having a nice scissor like this along with the kit. and I just cut it. So I have kept a little bit of this thread here to keep my design intact. So we are done with the satin stitch. In case we'll have time, we will definitely complete the petals. Next stitch is the stem stitch that I'm going to teach. For that, we should have green color, preferably. But if you want to continue with the yellow color, it's okay, since we are just learning. So I have already put the thread, the green thread, in the needle. The next thing we are going to do is, I think I already told I have put the knot. Now just bring it to the back of your frame, your cloth. And since I've already started with this flower, I am going to go on the top of the stem. Like we went to the top of the petal tip. Now here we are going to the tip of the stem. Since a stem stitch is quite comfortable to be done from the top to the bottom than from bottom to top. So let's start with the top and take out the entire thread like this. Now just try to follow me in one step, and I think you'll be able to follow the next step since it's a repetition. So if you're a right-handed person, since I'm right-handed, I am going to put this thread on my left like this. You can see. Now I'm going to keep a little bit of distance where I'm putting my finger. I'm going to put my needle here. I hope it is not blurred and it is visible to all of you. I'm just putting my needle at a little bit of distance through this outline of the stem down. I'm going to put it inside and just try to remember to hold this part of your thread with your left hand like this and take out the needle like this slowly, not fast for the first step. Just take it slowly out. Don't pull the entire thread out. Just try to keep a little loop like this I have kept on the left. I hope this much step is clear to all of you for the stem stitch. We will be repeating it again to cover the entire stem. So now your needle is at the back of the cloth now. Now you can see there is space in between these two threads of which I have formed a loop. Now almost at the center, try to take out the needle from the back, from the center, in between the loop on the outline of the stem like this. Now what you can do is you can leave the loop and now you can pull your thread like this. So this is the first step in the stem stitch, which will be repeated to cover the entire stem. Again, I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep the thread on the left like this under my thumb. I'm going to keep a little bit of distance from the last stitch and I'm going to put the needle inside. We are going down from top to bottom for the stem stitch. So again, I'm holding the thread. I'm not leaving the thread. I am trying to make a loop like this. And now I'm going to take out the needle from the back to the front from the center of the loop like this, but following the outline of the stem like this. Now I have left the loop and I am taking out the thread like this. I hope it is clear to everyone. I am repeating it again, but in case you want me to define it in much more clearer terms, I can do that too. I think everybody is clear. So now again, I am holding the thread on my left and I'm putting the needle at some distance down. It's hard, yeah. And I have put it inside. Now I'll take the needle out, forming a loop, and take out the thread, following the outline of the stem from the middle of the loop like this. And now leave the loop. So you can see you must be seeing in your design, it's giving a quite even and a clean design for the stem. Like they are overlapping each other. The thread is overlapping at each stitch and in the same direction. It should look neat since we are following or repeating the steps in the same way. So now again, I am holding the thread on the left, keeping a little distance, bringing it back, keeping the loop. Now taking out the needle or the thread from the middle, following the outline of the stem, and now leaving the loop like this. So this is the same steps till the end of the stem, till here. And take it out. Now here I am keeping the two steps separately. People usually just put it inside, the needle down, and they take out from the middle. The two steps, they come together. But since we are doing the basics, I'm teaching this entire steps into two sections, taking the thread down, making a loop, and then bringing it out from the middle like this. And then leaving the loop like this. Same way, doing again, bringing down the thread, keeping the loop, and bringing the needle out and leaving the loop. I think we are almost at the end of the stem, and just taking it out and bringing it in from the middle. And see, we are done with the stem, and the name is same. The stitch is also called the stem stitch, so it's easy to remember. Now last thing, since we have to take this thread out and we have to keep this entire stitch intact, I'm going to take this thread down again by putting the needle down at the end of the stitch or at the end of the stem and take it out. And now come to the back. The same way as we did the yellow part, the petals intact, same way we are going to do for the stem. We are just going to take out the needle or the thread from one of the stitches like this. You can see like this, and just take it out from the loop and make a knot like this. Now again, if you want, you can make it more intact. Take it out from the stitch. Don't take it out from the cloth because the stitch will come in the front and it will show up in the front. And now I'm just taking it out from the loop and I have made the knot. Now we can just cut it out, or if you don't want to cut it out, we can do the next stitch with the same thread. So what we can do is, this is the leaf, and for this leaf we use the fishbone stitch. Maybe it is something similar to the shape of a fish, that's why they have named it a fishbone stitch, but it is similar to a satin stitch, but a little bit more complex than the satin stitch. So if everybody is clear with the first two stitches, we can just move to the leaf with the fishbone stitch. I think everybody is ready. If you want me to wait, I can still wait. So now the way we brought the petal, we made the petal by bringing the thread from the tip of the petal. Same way for the leaf, let's bring the thread out from the tip of the leaf and take out the entire thread like this. So this is how we took it out from the top of the leaf. And now just try to see and follow. I'm just stretching my cloth a little. It got a little loosened up, and you can also do if you feel so. And we can just pull the cloth a little bit from the sides. Now you can see there is a line in the middle that shows that the leaf looks natural. So even to make it more natural with the thread, just follow this middle outline. And this much of distance, like you can see where I'm pointing the needle, bring the thread out from the back by putting the needle here, this much of distance from the first stitch you did or from where you took out the thread. And now pull it back like this. So this was a very simple step, taking it out and at a distance putting it in. Now we have to cover the left hand side and the right hand side. And on the left hand side, we have to show, like I can show it to you. I had started like this. There is one more kit which I started with. Now here you can see there is a natural look to the leaf. So we have to cover the left hand side separately and right hand side separately, so that it gives a partition kind of shade in the entire leaf, and it gives a little what we call a shiny effect to the leaf. So what I'm going to do is your thread should be at the back now, since you have put it at the back, following the middle outline. Now come to the left hand side of the leaf, the left outline of the leaf, and bring the needle out from the front like this, nearing your first stitch. So as I told for the satin stitch, the stitches should be very much near to each other. Same way for this fishbone stitch, the stitch should be very much near to each and every first stitch you do. So this was the first stitch you did. I'm taking the thread out from the left hand side, following the outline of the leaf. Now I'm coming back to the middle, nearing, here you can see from my needle where I'm pointing, just below the first stitch I did in the middle. I'm going to put the needle down like this and take it out from the bottom like this. So you can see there is, you might be seeing in your stitch or in your leaf too, there is a left hand stitch you have done to show a natural look. Now, as you keep on progressing, you will see that the leaf is coming out good and it looks quite natural. Now we have to move to the right hand side. For the right hand side, since your needle is at the back, just follow the outline on the right of the leaf, and nearing your first stitch you did, bring out the needle back in the front like this, and the thread will all come out. The way we did for the left hand side, we'll do it for the right hand side. We are going to put the thread through the needle in the middle, nearing your second stitch you did. Now I'm going to put it in the middle, nearing the second stitch, and take it out from the back like this. I hope this is clear. I think it is quite a complex stitch from all the 4 stitches that we are going to do, but it's quite a calming one. When it comes out, the entire leaf comes out, you'll definitely see the shine and you'll be happy to see it. So we are going to repeat this step again and again till the end of the leaf. I hope it is clear. Now try to take out the needle from the left hand side, following the outline of the leaf. So just take it out like this. Now next thing is just come back to the middle and put your thread in the middle line like this and bring it out from the back like this. Don't make it too tight. Don't stretch the thread too much. Just make it a little bit loosened by just putting your thumb around it. Just make it, soften it up so that these stitches, they intermingle with each other, and that does give a very nice effect to it instead of being separated. So now we are in the middle again. Now I again have to come back to the right. Just follow the outline on the right hand side, following your last stitch as much near to your last stitch, and bring it out again. Now come back again in the middle and bring the thread back like this. So we have covered the left again and the right again. Now again we are coming back to the left part and then we'll move to the right part. I am going to the left outline, the left part of the outline of the leaf, taking it out, now putting it in the middle like this. So now as you will be doing it, you must be seeing that the leaf is coming out quite good and it does give a natural look. Now sometimes the thread does get stuck up, which mine does. Now it is out. Yes, now again I'm on the right and now I'm going again in the middle, but try to keep in the same direction. The thread should be in the same direction. Like for the right part, it should be very much even and smooth. For the left part, it should be very much even and smooth. So as you can see, and you might be seeing yours too, it should give a smooth look. So again, I think we were on the right, and now I'm coming to my right part of the leaf, taking the thread out and putting it again. So you can see this fishbone stitch is a two-step thing. We are moving from one side to the other, bringing from the left, taking inside in the middle, then bringing out from the right and taking inside in the middle of the leaf. But try to follow the outline as much as you can, then it would give a good shape. Now I am here on the right again, and then I'm going to the middle like this. Now I'm covering the left part of the leaf and bringing it in the middle. I think the ones who are doing it for the first time, as soon as you progress to each and every new stitch, I think you would be doing better and more cleaner. If you want me to repeat a leaf again, you can let me know, since there is one more leaf left for this flower. So we are just, now you can see in this leaf, the right part is almost done. The left is still left. So instead of doing it on the right part again, we are just going to cover the left side as we were doing for the rest of it. So I'm just putting it in. I think there is only one more stitch left to be covered for my right part of the leaf. So let me just complete the right hand side. It should come out like this. It should almost meet the stem that we made. So there shouldn't be any white portion in the middle of the stem and the leaf. Now this part is left. I'm just going to cover it with the same steps as we did for the entire leaf till here, but only for the left hand side. I'm not going to the right side since there is no space left. Just follow the outline, come out from the left hand side and go in from the middle like this. And I am again on the left hand side of the leaf like this. And then I'm bringing the needle back down from the other side like this. This is quite like the satin stitch we did for the petal. Just try to keep the stitches as near to each other and follow the outline. We have almost finished the leaf. Did anybody say anything? Okay. So the leaf is done. Just put your hand on your finger around it so that they all just get mingled up together. This is just the way I do so that each stitch is not separated from each other. Rather, they should be close to each other to give a quite good shiny look with the thread. So now my thread is at the back, the way I did for the previous colors or the petal and the stem. I'm going to make it intact by making a knot at the back. So I made 2 knots. So we can move to the 4th stitch, which is called the French knot, and it is quite interesting. I really like that stitch. We can move to that stitch, and if we have time, we can repeat any stitch you want me to repeat in case you didn't follow. So I'm just going to cut it off, cut off the thread. And I'm going to move to my next color, which is brown. You must be having it in the kit for the middle portion of the flower. So I've already made a knot. I have already put the thread in the needle. I hope everybody was clear about how to put it through a threader. So next thing is, again, I'm going to the back, taking the needle at the back. So we are covering the inner part of the flower, the circle, with the French knot. And many of you might be knowing it, but for some it might be new. So please try to see and then you can repeat it because we are going to repeat many of the French knots to cover this circle. So I have taken out the needle from the back and brought the thread up like this. I'll zoom it a little more so that it is much more clearer. Now, since I'm right-handed, as I told earlier, I will be holding the thread with my left hand and my needle on the right. I'm going to wrap the thread 1 and 2 times around the needle. And now I'm going to find a place just near my last stitch where I took out the thread from and take the needle out from the back. It might take a little bit of pulling because we are making a kind of knot, as the name says, French knot, like this. So it's just kind of a knot, but a quite much neater one. And that's why it's called a French knot, and it is basically done. And something similar to it we do with colored pencils, or we do it with markers, which is called stippling. So it's kind of dots, making dots in the middle to give a natural look to our flower. So I'm just adding up my colored pencil knowledge along with this. Now the thread is at the back. Again, I have to bring the thread in the front, somewhere near my first French knot, anywhere in the center or in the circle. Take it out like this. And now again, I'll zoom it more. I'll hold the thread from the left hand and the needle with my right hand, and I'm going to wrap the thread around the needle 2 times, and then somewhere near the stitch or the first French knot I made, I'm going to pull it back, the entire thread. Now the ones who do it for the first time, sometimes the needle gets stuck, or sometimes the thread becomes knotty so that you won't be able to bring the thread down. In that case, just cut the thread and do it over again. So these are the 2 knots I made. It might take a little bit of more pulling than the other stitches. Now I'm taking the needle out again like this, and same way as I did before, I'm going to wrap the thread 2 times. If you want, you can wrap it more than 2 times, but it gets tough to take the needle out. Since it's cotton cloth, it gets a little hard to take it out, as it is happening to me too. So it's quite normal. So now I'll just take it out and take it out very lightly and smoothly. And this is how the 3rd knot, the French knot, is done. Now again, if you're not clear, I am showing it again, but please let me know if you're not clear at any point. So I have taken out the thread again, and I'm going to wrap it around the needle, and again put it back on the cloth and just pull it. So again, I'm taking it out, and I'm going to wrap it around and bring it back. And I hope it's clear. Yeah. So you can definitely smoothen it up or put it here or there. Since it's a knot, it can move around here or there in your circle. So I made 4 knots. We can make 1 more. And since there is a little time, I can even teach 1 more stitch that is called the chain stitch. So I think these 4 stitches are quite clear to everybody, and I think you will be able to cover the entire design, and I would love to see your designs as soon as you finish them. But we can move to 1 more stitch, which is called the chain stitch, which can also be used for the stem. So I'm going to use it for the stem. And the way I did for the previous ones, I'm going to make my design intact by making a knot at the back and then cut it off, leaving a little thread at the back. So let's move. Let me find a thread which I should use. I'm thinking of using a yellow one only for the chain stitch. The knot is already done. It's already inside the needle. So the way we did for our stem stitch, we did it from top to bottom. For the chain stitch, we do from bottom to top. So try to put your thread at the bottom of the stem and take it out, take out the entire thread. Now here, since I told you all these stitches are a repetition of steps to cover your design, I'm going to make a loop like this. You can see, and hold it somewhere here. You can make a big loop, you can make a small loop, your choice, but I made it a bigger one. Now, I am going to, the way we did for our stem stitch, we took a little bit of distance, a little bit of space, and put the needle down. The same way I'm going to the where I'm pointing my needle, just put the needle there at this much distance and take it out, but please keep this loop under your thumb. Don't put the entire thread down. And pull it like this. Now here, place the loop around your stem like this so that the stem can be seen. And at a little bit of distance upwards, bring the needle up from your stem and from between the loop. Keep the loop around the needle and take it out. Now you can leave the loop and you can slowly bring the thread up like this. So this is a kind of one chain that I made. So that's why it's called a chain stitch. Same way, we'll do this again and again to cover the entire stem. Again, make a loop like this at a little bit of distance from your first chain stitch. Put the needle down entirely. Now, keep the loop under your thumb and see, you can see the stem in between the loop and bring back the needle a little bit distance upward like this, but from within the loop like this, and just leave the loop and bring the thread up slowly like this. You can make these chain stitches smaller, you can make them bigger. That depends upon the space you take. If you take a smaller space or smaller distance, your chain will be a little smaller than this one. Now again, another loop like this around the stem. Bring the needle down at a little bit of distance from your last chain stitch and take it out. Keep the loop like this. Now take it out. I am almost at the top of my stem and I'm just taking it out from the loop and leave the loop and pull it. So these are about 3 chains or 3 chain stitches we did for the stem of the leaf. You can even use it for further or new designs if you want. Now you can see there is a thread that is wrapping. This loop is wrapping my thread. So just a little beyond that loop, put the needle down and bring the entire thread at the back. Now you can see your chains are intact. This is all intact. Now the next step is that making your design intact by making a knot. You can do it again from any stitch. And this is done. Now the next thing is either just put your needle on the cloth or just cut it. So this is how the chain stitch is done. So I think we have done 5 stitches and I hope you all are clear.